Don't burn up your alternator when you install new lithium batteries into your motorhome or Class C or van or any other type of recreational vehicle that has its own engine and has an alternator that charges your batteries. I will show you today how to bypass the system in a simple way so that you don't burn up your alternator. And then I will show you how I'm going to go about charging off of my alternator without burning it up. So that's what's going on in today's episode. So those who follow me will remember a few months ago when I was driving this back from Arizona back up here to Oregon, and the stupid beeping alarm started going off on the RV. It was actually this alternator that was the problem. And this alternator is new. It didn't last long. And it's because I really didn't plan accordingly how to, not have this thing going crazy trying to charge my lithium batteries. So we'll look at that today on this episode.
A new place, a new home for a while. Let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back. Take my time, just enjoy the ride. A new man passing by. Life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, something new.
Well, everybody, we're real time now for the most part. These videos are within a couple of weeks of reality, and we're heading soon to Asia for the winter. So that's going to be exciting. I'm trying to get ready for that now. I'll show you what I've been up to over the last couple months through the fall. And of course, we're going to talk about this alternator and how to not burn up your alternator with your lithium batteries. So that'll be something we'll look at today, and then I'll show you what I've been up to for the last couple months. Now that I've moved my little boat Percy onto a little trailer and have that stored in a safe place, working on turning my trailer into more of a workshop trailer. So I've gotten most of my tools and supplies put into the black trailer, so that's nice. And now wherever I want to go, anywhere in the country or pretty much on the continent that I want to go and bring all my tools and do a project, I'll be free to do it. So that's nice. And been working to get my mom's house and my mom's property kind of fixed up a little more here, doing some remodeling work for my mom. One of the biggest jobs that I've done over the last couple months is to do new siding on the house, and it's 99% done. Still wrapping things up. I only have a few more days here before I'm leaving, so I'm trying to get everything wrapped up, but looks really good. So yeah, the house is looking really good. I'm excited about that. Still going to be more projects left to do in the future, but the siding was a big one. Also refurbishing her laundry room, her entryway room. It's kind of entryway / laundry room, and so I had to start with putting in a new water heater. So that's been that was the thing, and then putting in new, kind of refinishing, redoing the drywall, and now we're getting in finally to the paint and everything. So that's been nice. And currently refinishing the front door. It's looking beautiful. Running out of light though. And just got the first paint going on the laundry room here after refinishing the drywall. It's going to be a green room. My drywalling skills aren't perfect, but doesn't look too bad. Especially for a smooth finish with limited time. So the accent walls are going to be this dark green, which got a lot more work to do, but needed to get the water heater back to functional. So that's the new on-demand water heater. The new sub panel is behind the tape still, and the dryer plug's over here, so we've got to get that. Still got to put in the vent. It's going to go down under the building, so almost there. Got to get the front door back on. But yeah, that's lots going on at the same time. A little bit of a mess, but Also, one thing my mom's been wanting is to have the balcony done on her house, and so that's pretty well handled now. Did a nice railing, and of course, while we're doing the siding, got up there and got all the trim painted, and it's had to rent a lift because it's up there a ways. So now the balcony is pretty well set up and beautiful. Excited about that. I think that's about all the things I've been up to lately. I'm so impressed with the apple tree this year. They're not the biggest apples in the world, but they're delicious. A real treat if you're here in the later part of the summer into fall. And about the time that the blackberries start kind of producing is about when the apples start getting good. So it's always something good to munch on without just walking around the yard. So yeah, there's a little bit of dead, very, very dead berries on this blackberry bush, but nothing left you could eat. So I'm not going to go through the installation process on the new alternator because I just did that a couple episodes ago. I think it was episode 98, whatever it was. I'll put a note to it in here so you can go back if you want to see the installation of the alternator. But what I'm going to show you now is how to not burn it up. So this is a 2005 model motorhome, right? So there used to be an inverter converter charger in here, which I removed. But so everyone's RV is gonna be a little different. But somewhere you're going to have the unit that handles the alternator power and then charges the your house batteries, right? So this is the unit for this motorhome, and it's actually kind of a multi-function thing because it takes that power also and distributes it to some of the vital DC powered systems on the coach. So it's doing more than just acting as a charger, but that's what it does also. And down here is where your starter battery would hook up. Right, kind of next to that, back in there, is where the house batteries connect. And then on the far side over here, which is a little harder to see, but there's a fuse there. That's where the alternator power would come in. So the alternator would be connected there. And then this thing would distribute that alternator power to the starter battery and the house batteries. And for a while, it did a good job. When I just had a small lithium battery bank, it seemed to manage it fine. But once I got that new huge battery bank on there, this thing might be malfunctioning because it should sense voltage and it should think that those lithium batteries are charged way before they really are. But anyway, it doesn't do that anymore, obviously. So now, left over from the past, there's a fuse block that was in here because this was a fuse to the inverter converter charger. So to make this very simple, and everyone's situation will be different, but essentially you want to take this component out of the path of your alternator. So the alternator should just go straight to the battery, right? To your starter battery. And I've done that by removing the cable on both sides, right? And I just used the fuse that was already here, so I didn't have to put any sort of, I didn't have to put a butt connector on these battery cables and connect them. I just bolted them down. Well, there's another reason I did this is because now if I want to charge my lithium batteries with my alternator, this is where we're going to employ a new system. So this currently is getting its power from the house batteries, right? So all the components are still functioning here because it's got charged lithium house batteries, so all the DC systems are working properly. That's great, but the alternator has nothing to do with this now. The alternator just stops, goes straight through here and onto the battery and just gets charged off the alternator. So this alternator is way overkill now. It's a 145 amp alternator and it's doing nothing hardly at all because you'll see this little red wire is a trickle charger. These inverters that I have now, they have a trickle charge function, so it's trickle charging that starter battery so it'll never go dead. Okay, so final component though that you'll want, which I'm gonna do, I barely got this far. To stop the beeping noise, I had to get the new alternator and fix this. So I did that. So I'm not going to burn up my new alternator even if I'm driving the RV right now. But now I'm going to use this space right in here and I'm going to install a DC to DC charger. So it'll pick up the power from the alternator right there, and it will, I will tie it into this big fat red cable that's running over to the lithium batteries. That's more than thick enough to handle 50 amps, because about 50 amps is the most you'll find on a DC to DC charger, and that on a 145 amp alternator is a safe load. So I'll have a 50 amp DC to DC. I'll show you a picture of the one. I always stick with Victron equipment, and I would mount it right here and have this 50. You can do less. I think there's a 30 amp version, whatever is appropriate for your situation. Yeah, and also those DC to DC chargers are programmable and smart. They so you can tell them and program them to not overwhelm your alternator. So so pretty much anyone could do a 50 amp. And if you need to tailor that back a little to not burn up the alternator, you can do that. So that's the simple way to manage this. It's not expensive. The DC-DC charger, relatively inexpensive, and none of this cost me any extra money. I just bypassed the old system, and everything's working great. Normally I go straight to my favorite company, Inverters R Us, but in doing so, I didn't see that they had this one in stock. But what I'm thinking for my motorhome is one of the biggest DC-DC chargers I know of, but an Orion, right, is what I want. And I want the one that's Bluetooth, so I think I got the one here that's Bluetooth, but this is what you want to look for. You want to go 12 volt to 12 volt and how many amps you want. So I want to do that, and I do want 50 amps. So this is the one that I would want to get. It's currently $299 on Amazon. Now this is one of the biggest ones, so you have a smaller motorhome, smaller alternator. Maybe you don't need such a big charger. The nice thing though is you can actually get from any voltage to any voltage pretty much. So if you had a 48 volt battery bank with your house system, then you could have this thing go from 12 volt to 48 volt. So anyway, that's what we're looking at. This is what you'd put down in that place. That's what I plan to do when I get back from Asia. I'm not going to do it before I leave. So yeah, that's that. So that's all for this week, everybody. But new season starts next week. Spending the winter in Asia, so I'm excited about that. And it's going to be a combination of a couple things. I'm going to be still dating, and maybe I'll meet someone on these travels. But also, rather than just do like travel videos, I'm going to be focusing a little more on the how-tos. I found a lot of videos about beautiful things to see and so forth, but not a lot about how to actually go about getting yourself to Asia and finding the best lodging and how to get around and those kind of things. So I'm going to focus in a little more on the how-tos. I've traveled Asia many times all around already, so I have a lot of experience and a lot I can share about that. So yeah, that all starts next week with the preparations that we're going to go through to head that direction. So make sure you check that little box, little bell, and the subscribe button, all that kind of stuff, so you can be following me on my adventures and not miss my videos. Until next time, see you then.
'Cause I found my way.